and Frothy's preview time. Easter weekend is upon us, and we have a very interesting round to get stuck into a couple of intriguing games, as I seem to say every week. Barney's with you, Daggy's with you. We're going to do it all again. Has something caught your eye this weekend, Barn? Or
I think we might see some points scored this weekend.
I hope so. We saw some last weekend, but there weren't the games we needed.
There might be a few teams that aren't going to be able to match up defensively against some of the different attacks coming through this week. So,
how's your Supercoach looking?
Shit house last week. Barely
beat by an
managed
8-year-old, so I'm going good.
I'm averaging around 1,150 or something, but with the flex this year, you probably need to be averaging about 1,250. So, yeah, bit off the pace, but what do? I normally start slow and get better as the season goes on, but I've had two rounds now, one where I just missed 1,000 and one where I barely scraped in. The other weeks have been fine. They've been good, but yeah, I've had two down weeks, which has knocked me back a peg or 20,000.
I found myself very both firm or heavy, which I'm trying to work out what to do. Now, I got Fish and Gazowski and a few other injuries I've got to deal with.
Still making plenty of money, so
as am I, but I wouldn't mind bulking up something this week. I've got a bit of an inclination that Buller might be worth bringing his fullback around that 530 mark if you are so interested, but I've also been wrong before. And yeah, if you haven't got Angus Crichton yet or Dave Fafita, now's the time to get them. I reckon they're about to just hit the peak of the best of what they do, and they're both A-grade super coaches.
Yeah, don't have either of those guys.
I'll probably bring in Fafita, and I've not been a Fafita man, but
Egan's just made 100 grand, and there's probably another 100
he's
310
to 200 now.
To be make out of him.
He'll get to 5.
You would imagine, as long as he's getting game time and doesn't get injured. So that's one of the cheaper guys that you could probably have a look at. The halves have been interesting.
There aren't any.
No, that's right. Nico's still averaging about 70 or something. It's one of the better ones, but fuck, he can throw a shit-house game in there.
Adam Dewey back to 7.
Off the world.
The trial game he played this year, he played 7. Remember that trial game? He scored 120 that game. I think it was 112, actually. When he set up
still at the moment only down as a 5'8" and a centre, so
exactly. And Luai maybe get Luai's got a point to prove, and he's 360, but maybe can change him for Tom Duffy if you've still got him, as I do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, definitely. It's interesting because
one of those halves have to do something.
I want Ponga and Hunt out of my side because of the way that they've been going, but the minute they do, they're going to fucking go back to averaging 80.
Yeah, I know. Hey, do you remember what I did last week? Remember that?
Yes, I do.
I sold Ponga and Sharp. I said they can both get out, and I was happy. And then lost to an 8-year-old.
Last week.
Yes, we might do round 7. Round 6 is a good time to have done it, but
we're probably due.
Yeah. Hey, long weekend next week. Well, 2 long weekends come out. Maybe we can pull something off Anzac Day and do something to that effect. That sounds good to me.
Let's do that.
I won't get in too much trouble that way. NRL round 7 though kicks off at 4 Pines Park on Thursday night with the Seagulls hosting the Dragons. I think this is a very interesting game. Toff Sipley is back to starting with no Aloe, and Faya Lalo joins the bench. Jason Saab's back too. That's good news. I'm trying to think who's missing out. Cooler, Garrick, Tulau is now the backline, so they've modified that a bit. Still no Tommy Turbo. Hopawade is the fullback. Their front row and bench looks fairly similar. Simpkin and Failolo, the 14 and the 18 there. For the Dragons, Dylan Egan is still on the bench. Blake Laurie back on the bench. Was he there last week? I feel like he wasn't, but anyway. Might have missed that. And no Tuapulutu sees Matt Fayanay onto the wing. The rest is pretty much a team that did a job last week and a team that's humming. And you can have first crack at this because I don't know.
Yeah, well, just going off the back of what I said before, I can see a few issues in the pack for Manly, and I think St George has been going okay there with these young guys and a mixture of some of these older fellas. So I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to go with the Dragons 1-12. Um,
I feel like every time I'm denied and not done it, they've won in the last 3 weeks, and now watch it the reverse happen. Go on.
yeah, no, probably more than likely. But I can just see the Dragons being like if they can continue with that the passing through the back line and be able to create and get into position, they might be able to catch Saab or Cooler or somebody of the likes one or two times, and that might be enough. I think Manly will probably come out really strong, and they might even catch the Dragons on the hop to begin with a bit of pace out wide. But if it does settle into that arm wrestle in the middle, I think you might see the Dragons just get back on top a fraction. They'll have to deal with Cherry Evans' kicking game as well, which is an upside for Manly, but I'm going to stick with Dragons 1-12. Man of the match. I think they'll go to Gutherson this week um, more often than they did last week, and he'll probably lay on a couple of tries, maybe get one himself, and have him as man of the match. I'm going to go Manly to score first through Jason Saab.
I given a comp so close now, and I sort of suggested I did suggest Tigers were better the weekend last weekend. They were 260 at the time. You're welcome. That I'm just going to look through the betting spectrum. St George $2.40 to me feels like value. I think the more I think about this, maybe it doesn't. But if they're $3, I'll declare them. But 240, I think it's worth a crack because I'm not sure where Manly are at. I think you summed up really, really well. I'm going to go Gutho man of the match. I'm going to go first try scorer Val Holmes because I think those edges can be exposed. I wish Tuipulotu was staying because I reckon he'd be up for this one. And we didn't mention it in the review, but didn't Vossi milk him for all he was worth in that commentary stint last Friday? And I enjoyed it. I'm here for it. I am a massive Andrew Voss mark. Come at me. Bulldogs and Rabbitohs, 4 o'clock on Good Friday. For the Dogs, Kickout is on the extended bench. I suspect he probably comes in, which will obviously cause a reshuffle there. Matt Burton is also named to start. And if Kickout starts, I assume Jack Todd or Bailey Hayward probably slide out of the side. Well, it would be Jack Todd will slide out of the side. For Souths, Cody Walker comes back into 6, which pushes comes back into 7. No Lewis Dodd just yet, but there is some mail around he may come in. Obviously, he's not that well liked to not be named yet. Yui and Jack White now the centres right now. Campbell Graham on the wing. Suddenly, that back 5 looks pretty good. Jai Arrow's got named. Jai Arrow getting to Nelly Saifidi levels of being hurt every week and carrying on like a pork chop. Anything else obvious? No, that looks like it. What are you doing here, Bar?
Trail goes to the centres and Tass comes off, and
it's a rep backline. Well, obviously Dry Gray hasn't quite got it yet, but if Latrell goes to centres and Tass comes off, that is a rocket looking back 5, isn't it?
Well, it helps the defence a lot. Probably there's a couple of guys there that might be able to expose them a little bit with speed. In the likes of Zeri and Kiraz down that one edge. But I think for mine, the Rabbitohs are going to be there. It's going to be all heart, but I can see this game blowing out at the back end. The Dogs, they've put in for 80 minutes every week this year, and most of last season, the likes of Preston. If you do see Kikau back in here, I think he can really expose an edge and provide some of those offloads. He was just offloading for fun before he got injured, and if he can link up with Crichton, Zeri's, Kiraz, even Montoya, obviously push some guys off. I think there might be some points at the back end of this game, and I think a lot of it will come off Tracy, to be honest. I know it's Burton's first game back, but they seem to really strike up a really good combination where he was able to put Tracy into positions to expose defences, and if he can get into the backfield a few times, you might see points coming directly off the back of Connor Tracy. So I've gone Dogs 13 plus, Connor Tracy man of the match, and Kiraz to score the first try.
Very good. I'm going to go 1-12 Dogs. I'm interested to see where the Dogs gas out. I think the energy bounces them through this week and possibly another couple. But at some point, I think when you're the most high-intensity team in the competition, as Cowboys have been, for example, in years gone by, I think
They've
at
now
some
got a
point,
target on them.
yeah. But for now, this will be fine without halves. Latrell will kick 700 metres. Cody will do some ball playing, and I really like their backline now. But realistically, Ewan Aitken's a back rower that could open up some holes for Stephen Crichton to score the first try. I love what you said about Connor Tracy because I've been his biggest fan for about 3 years now, so I'll go with that as well for him, man of the match. And we get to Suncorp, where the Storm will go back and keep plugging with their very good record there against the Dolphins at 8 p.m. For the Storm, Hughes is playing. He's all good. Cleared all structural damage. No problems there. Tyron Wishart obviously is on standby if there is a concern. Leo fractured his shoulder, so Howarth, Anderson are the centres. And Faye Longo comes back into the team, which will only add, pace and footwork to the back line. Hate that. The rest looks pretty much as you'd expect. And Ray Stone is back for the Dolphins, which means Josh Kerr drops off the bench. I reckon this will be 24 plus to the Storm, and only because they will just put the Q in the rack again. I wouldn't mind them keeping the foot down, but Pappy or someone will come off and have a bit of a breather here. First try scorer, Pappy or someone, Ryan Pappenhausen. First try, sweeping off the back of a lovely backline move. He'll be on for 2 before he gets rested. What I was going to say, man of the match. I don't know. Ryan Pappenhausen.
I think Dolphins will try to go with him to start, to be honest. I think this will be really high intensity and up-tempo play to begin. The Dolphins, I think, will go searching to the edges, try to expose, Fa'alongo, Anderson, who haven't played a lot of footy recently, and they'll really attack those areas of the field. You might see them jag a try or two early, but I think it'll be to their detriment by the back end of this game. Once we come out of that sort of grind period of 10, 20 minutes before half-time, I think the Storm run away with it in the back end of this game. And I really like what I saw from Harry Grant last week, and I think, there'll be a period in that second half where he'll just be picking them to pieces and creating tries, creating line breaks. And I think from what I saw last week, I think he's almost back to the form, and he'll be the standout player in this game. Storm 13 plus, Harry Grant man of the match, and I'll go with Xavier to score the first try.
There's just no crack. Like now, ironically, 2 ex-Tigers, but now like Stefano and Sean Bloor are starting to find. Well, Sean Bloor already had, but now the size is they got size now as well.
Yeah,
they're an intimidating team. It was only 3 years ago that, or was it like 2 years ago that they were still toweling everyone by 30 points every game. Can they keep going?
Can't see why not. They've got the workers and King, Liero as well. I think there's a big uptick when they get into the benches as well. Alex McDonald gets through plenty of work. Kamika can make an impact. If they're on the front foot, Wishart's can be a very good option exposing defenders. Bronson Garlick worries me a little bit, but you got to put somebody in that position, I guess.
Exactly.
He has had some very good games, but I think the Storm do it well. I don't think you see many games where they fall off this year.
One game on Saturday, okay. The Waz and Broncos, that's going to be a long day. 5:30. It's over there, sorry. 5:30 our time, 7:30. 5:30 their time, 7:30 our
2
time.
games Saturday because of the Monday.
Yeah, that one. So it's 5:30 our time. Warriors host the Bronx. Very interesting game because one's coming off a towel and the other one's coming off not being so good. Fisher Harris is out for a month, which is a very big concern because now Jackson Ford goes to front row and their forward pack suddenly looks a little bit flimsy. Tim Murray Martin's also on the bench as well for his first game of the year. For the Broncos, No Gazowski broke his, I think he broke his arm. Yeah. Broken arm at training, and Jordan
8
Ricky
weeks or something.
Comes back for him. And Tyson Smoothie is now on the bench. So their bench is now Walters, Jensen, Willison, Smoothie, plus Corey Pakes starting. So some of them are going to get through some work in the back line.
It'll be Jensen.
Yeah,
Jensen will be put to work.
I just can't tip the Warriors. That's a problem. But if we add the 6, I'm going to have Broncos 1-12, and I don't feel comfortable at all. If we do get through that, it'll be Payne Haas man of the match, getting through what he's done. Because that back row looks a bit flimsy now with Halamasima, Niokore, Aaron Clark. Yeah, I don't know what.
Alasima's been awesome.
Oh, he might be a star,
honest,
actually. Coming. I don't want to talk about him, though, because he cost us a game the other way. Low scoring game. Say 20 to sort of 16. And Broncos get home. Reece Walsh first try. Barn?
I wouldn't be surprised if you see Tiakura or Tapau come onto that bench for one of those.
Yeah, it's very
One of those
interesting.
guys. There's just way too much utility options there for mine, especially with some of the size. You got Laban, Vayamanga, and Afoa on that bench. I think they need to match them a little bit with that rotation because I know you can play big minutes out of Haas and Carrigan, but that really limits your impact with Jaden Hunt's had a couple of good games, but he's not going to physically dominate Halasima or Nakora or anyone like that. So I wouldn't imagine he would anyway. I think the Broncos win well at the back end of this game. I had my doubts about the Warriors to begin with. I tipped them to come last. Let's be brutally honest. Now they've lost a little bit of
If I
size
have a fat
through that
Saturday,
middle.
I might have $50 on the Warriors at $3, but it doesn't tempt me that much as I thought it might have a couple of weeks ago.
I just think you're going to see some of these outside backs get stuck in the mud a little bit.
As we have for years.
Leotoa, Capewell, Pompey, Cossey.
Yeah.
They're physical specimens, but if you got Cobbo, Staggs, Walsh, Arthur's running at them with pace and getting into the right positions, I can see them actually being pulled apart at the back end of this game.
You're right. I'll just buy kebab boxes instead.
I'm going to go with Reece Walsh, man of the match. I think he's been getting a little bit better each week, and he's due for a breakout game. I can see him, getting players on the inside, outside, bit of footwork, and they could cause all sorts of problems for these outside backs of the Warriors. Broncos 13+, and I'll go with Jesse Arthur to score the first try.
The Chooks host the Panthers at Allianz, 7:30 Saturday evening. Victor Radley's back to start at lock, and Fiketti, goes back to the bench there. The rest looks pretty much... Oh, Marky Mark's back in for Billy Smith. For the Panthers, Mitch Kenny's back from his shoulder injury. Jack Cole is also on the bench. As it stands right now, Blaze Talangi is named at 6. We'll see how that all washes out. But their backline of Alamote, Garner, McLean and Jenkins, to be honest, pales a little bit in comparison to the Roosters' backline. I am going to tip the Chooks here. I think they're going to just match up enough. And we talked enough about their forward pack in the review show. Butcher White, Wong, Crichton, etc. Sets up really well here. So Chooks 1-12. Chooks 13+, actually. There we go. Fuck it. Chooks 13+. Points to come here. Footwork for Noah Takanese is going to see him outclass his opponent and score the first try. Man of the match, Connor Watson. Doing what he's been doing very, very well all year and putting his name up in lights for that origin hooker spot. Penrith will be very much the story of the week next week when they slump to 6 straight, Bar.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to. Yeah, you'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Penrith kick a lot early to try and swing field position and things like that, because this is a very big physical forward pack for the Roosters, and Penrith haven't really shown. Like Lindsay Smith's obviously been doing plenty of work, and Leota has his 20-minute stints, but I'm not sure where they can continually roll through the middle of this Roosters team, which is what they've built a lot of their work on for the last 5 years. So,
I think if you're Cleary, you've got to just kick early. You got to be kicking the bloody second and third sometimes and trying to turn around.
Yeah, and then use you guys like Martin and Yo to get up in the face and and harass them in defence and yeah, try to cause errors and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm going Roosters 1-12. I'm going to go with Teddy. He's been very good all year, and I think if they can get on the front foot for big parts, you might see him crash over for one and set up a couple as well with some of these talented outside backs. I'm going to go
Penrith
Robert Toyer
$1.66
to score the
seems
first try.
incredible to me.
Yeah, absolutely it does.
Jeez. Okay. And then we kick off at Seabus Stadium, 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Titans host the Roosters. Tino's back. That will help a lot. And Josho Fafita and Isaac Fasuamali are also back into the team. For the Raiders, Zach Hosking comes back in. And that pushes Josh Papa'i back to the bench. Horsburgh, Starling Tapane, Young, Nicholson, Smithies. Looks a pretty good starting lineup there. Sets them up well. I am just looking at the odds first. Titans 210, Raiders $1.75, $1.50, 1.5 to the line, sorry. I've got to tip Canberra. I think they're one of the hot teams right now. I'm going to stick with them. But a very, very good Ford Clash matchup. And I'm going to say that they slightly win the wrestle and win. This will be one of those weird-ass games where, I'm going to go golden point. It'll be like one of those weird games where Ricky's on the sideline and it's just chaos for like the last half and all this wacky shit happens and AJ will score 3 tries, but next minute Tomoko and Tamale scored 2 straight minutes and this and that, and we'll flip and flop. But I'm going to say that Raiders get home. Fogarty's kicking game gets them there, and the halves are the difference. And which will give him man of the match. First try scorer, though, we'll go with, I said so, AJ Barn.
Yeah, I think the Raiders could end up pushing this out the 13 plus by the end of the game. But just because you look at that interchange, Hoskins, Papali, Mariota, I think that when they get into that rotation, as I commonly talk about, I'm not sure Jolliffe, Haas, and Isaac Fasuamalawi go with Mariota, Papali, and Hosking. And Hosking's a really good interchange for either Smithies, Nicholson, and they lose absolutely nothing there. Mariota can have a 20, 30-minute big stint, as can Papali, to really get on the front foot and put some dents in that defensive line for the Titans. I think you might see I think you're going to see both teams score close to 20 points during the game, and then I think the Raiders might run away with it at the end. I'm going to go 1-12, but I think it'll be a pretty comfortable 1-12 to the Raiders. Man of the match, Fogarty, same as you. I think the kicking game will be massive in this one, and he's just got his kicking game is brilliant. And when you compare it up to Campbell and Brimson, I'm not sure they have the firepower between the both of them to match what Fogarty's going to be able to produce. And I'm actually going to go with the Titans to score first. Again, another performance I'd really like to see last week was David Fafita, and I think he might just produce an individual effort to score the first try.
And then we've got the Knights hosting the Sharks at McDonald Jones Stadium. For the Knights, Tyson Gamble comes back in and goes back into the halves. James Schiller comes back in as well. Cogger's on the bench, but at least a few troops back there, just giving through the team. The rest looks pretty much the same. And for the Sharks, if Fanil Blake seems to be good to go, they reckon Iroh's about 2 weeks away. That's about it. Yeah, the rest is what you'd expect from a pretty solid and a pretty healthy most weeks Sharks team. I thought about bringing Hiroti in a little bit, but job security is not gold. Can't possibly tip Newcastle. 13 plus Sharks. They would have to play particularly bad to not beat this team right now. Man of the match, Will Kennedy. Good on him. I hope he's going to play well. And first try scorer, Sam Street, because he usually scores 2 every week. Barn.
I think you're going to see a bit of a bounce back from Newcastle. I think they'll really try to use the ball.
But isn't a bounce back just not... Like, their defence is
I'm
fine.
not saying it's going to be anything better than...
No.
I'm not going to say that they're going to get close to Cronulla, but I think they'll make a concerted effort of really trying to involve Ponga in the play and getting the ball to the edges, because I can't see them having a way through the middle to be able to open it up. Like the starting pack's solid enough, but again, that interchange really looks like a massive advantage to the Cronulla side once you get into that forward rotation coming off the bench. And I think their best option is to try and swing it wide early and target the likes of Ramey and Harodi. Mulatalo has a head snap in him. Stone Street hasn't been the best under the high ball, and he's made a few defensive errors to start the season. He seems to be getting a little bit better each week, but I think that's where they'll go early if they do get some field position and aren't dropping it on the first and second tackle. I just think once you obviously you get into that grind, into that rotation, the Sharks will become. I think they'll just be trucking it down the middle of the field at times, and they'll really be able to push home that advantage.
It could be. I
Sharks,
reckon this could be sort of 8 or 10-4 at half time, but then blow out.
or even after 25,
Yeah,
half an hour,
yeah,
and the
yeah.
Sharks sort of gained that momentum in the last 10 minutes of the first half. Sharks on the front foot for mine. Nico needs to aim up, and if they get on the front foot, he's probably the guy that's going to be able to do it. Get some passes to those outside backs to create some try assists, Nakora on an angle and that kind of stuff. So I don't think I've tipped Nico for man of the match this year, except for the first game. But I'm going to do it here. Sharks
Like
13
old
plus.
times.
Mulatalo first try score.
At some point, there'll be a game this year where Knights beat someone by 20. I don't think it's this game, but it'll happen. It'll all just, like, everything will fall back into place. But
Best and Gay guy will kill it. And
yeah, it'll but it's a long way away. Anyway, the Spoon Bowl replay comes up again at 4 o'clock on Monday afternoon. After Tigers beaten by 30 or 32-6 in the second round. Tigers, no Lachlan Galvin, which means Adam Dewey starts at halfback. Luai starts at 6. Naden comes into the team at 3, which none of that I mind too much. Pardon me. Reflux is a bitch. The rest looks pretty good. And Mitch Moses is back for the Eels, as is Jack Williams. And Kelma Tuolangi. So, and apparently, I just jerried to this, Offengawe, Madison, and Sean Lane have all been dropped. So their forward pack is Williams, Smith, Paulo, Tuolangi, Katoga, Hopgood, and then Walker, Moretti, Dury, and Tuivati on the bench. Good old developmental coach Jason Riles has had his say. Barn, what are you doing here?
I think the attack will hopefully be a little bit better for Parramatta. I'm not saying they're going to score a hell heap of points, but I think they'll look better and create a few
I
opportunities.
think Dylan Brown will feel better.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you might even see a Yongi be able to brought into the play a little bit more with Moses, because he does. One thing that he does very well is draw defenders. He doesn't mind taking it into the line, and obviously the kicking game helps them as well. But I think the Tigers blow them out by the back end of this game.
How is this forward pack even a matchup?
May, Pole, Fainu really get on the front foot. Twile, there's heaps of them. Yeah, I think they dominate the middle 20 minutes into half time, and then for the rest of the game after that, Walker will added some sort of injection when he comes on. He's looked like one of their more dangerous prospects when he has come onto the field for the Eels. But yeah, I think the Tigers win 13 plus. Taylor May gets man of the match and makes 500 meters and 84 tackles and all the rest of that stuff. But I'm going to go Parramatta score first. I think, as I mentioned, I think there might just be Moses might be able to create a line break and Iongi backing up first try scorer.
Can't believe I'm going to say this, and I don't like doing it. Tigers 13 plus. This will be a rout because I think that forward pack just just demolishes them, and this will take a while to get going. They'll get field in position. I think Luai being back on his left edge will now be right at home, and he's got to. They have to win 13 plus, and he has to be man of the match off the back of all that's happened this week. And I'm going to back him to do it because I can. Luai man of the match, first try scorer Luke Luaili on that side, and I think Tito is in for 2 tries as well.
Very good.
What's got you frothing?
I have a morbid curiosity to watch Penrith and the Roosters go around.
I think so too.
Just to see
Like, because
really
it
what's
could
going to
just be a
wash out
proper
there.
nail. Like, hey, just
Yep, I think it only ever goes one of two ways, and yeah, it's a proper someone getting Penrith getting cleaned up by the Roosters, or do we see Penrith somehow regain that death by 1,000 cuts and being able to control a game and just continually fight for 80 minutes? They've got they've got the players there to do it, but whether they can produce that, and it's do or die for them now, really. So you will see an effort out of them. I'm just not sure if the defense that we've seen recently is going to stack up. And I really like the Manly Dragons matchup tomorrow night. I think that could be a very exciting game. I think you will see some flashes of brilliance from both teams, and just how that game washes out is very interesting.
I agree. I am really interested to see where Dragons sit when they take on Manly and vice versa. So that's got me frothing. Tigers bounce back has got me frothing because we might lose. We could actually get done and I'll just be back up on the roof. So I'm interested to see that. And
well, they could just. I think this unites them. To be honest,
I think so too. And like I hope this could really actually boost our season. So that's what I'm looking forward to. We'll do it all again next week in some form or another as we battle through the Easter weekend. I hope everyone has a fantastic Easter. All the best to you and yours over that time. And we'll be back next week to do it all again. See you guys. Bye.
What he said. Bye.